Final one! Social evil! Player 2, Social Evil. Are you ready? Fight!
What's up, everybody? You are watching Fun with the Gun once again, and today we're comparing two very cool handguns that are completely different from each other. But if they're completely different, why are we comparing them? Well, I'll tell you why. These guns may be quite different, but they're both chambered in 9mm, and they're both right around the same price range. So, starting off here, we have got the Glock 34. This is an awesome handgun made by Glock, 5.5-inch barrel, very great gun. Here, we've got the CZ75 SP01. So, what should we talk about first?
Well, that's the most important thing of a gun. Well, actually, there are quite a few important things. But to me, two things. The ergonomics, when you pick up the gun, how it feels in your hand. And the next thing is when you pull that trigger. I like a good trigger, and I want a trigger I know when it's going off.
So let's talk about that first. With the Glock here, we've got just about a 6-pound trigger pull. We've measured this multiple times. That's about what the average came out to. And then over here with our beautiful CZ75 SP01, we've got about a 5-pound pull. So about a pound lighter. In both of our opinions, having fired both of these guns a lot, we can both confidently say that we prefer the trigger from the CZ75.
More definite.
Yeah, it's more definite. The Glock, it almost has like this sponginess to it. It's got quite a bit of take up, and the break isn't very definite. It can almost surprise you. I would compare it almost to like a factory AR trigger, maybe.
Yeah. So out of the box, I think we got to hand it to the SP01.
As far as trigger pull goes.
Trigger. Now, what about ergonomics? The feel of the gun in your hand. Let's talk about the grip.
Okay, so over here we've got the CZ75 SP01 comes standard with these rubberized grips. They got checkering on them to make it nice. Yeah, they do. They actually feel really nice. They're cushy, but they're not so forgiving that you know, you can press down and really squeeze it like a really ripe fruit. You know, they're firm, but they're soft, and I really like them a lot. I find that they give a very comfortable handhold, but for me personally, they're a little bit too big. I have pretty small hands, so what we did was we swapped them out with thin grips, and those are really nice. So both of these guns we've actually modified the grip on. Neither of them we've left stock. So with the CZ, we changed out the grips, though these are the stock ones. And with the Glock here, we added what's called a tough one, basically. And this is like a...
Tough grip.
It's just like a rubber... I don't know, what would you even call this?
It feels like somebody cut an inner tube, you know, from a bicycle and put it on there. The idea.
Yeah.
But it actually does give you a good feel.
Yeah, it adds a little bit more traction, or not really traction, but just grip, you know. You can get a better hold on the gun and maintain that hold. Now, which one do you prefer better out of the box, you know, without taking the modifications that we made into account? Yeah. What would you say? Because I have my answer.
I like them both. Actually, I like them both for different reasons. The CZ seems to fit my hand pretty darn well.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, it's extraordinarily comfortable.
And it feels thin. Whereas the Glock feels thick, but it also, the way it's designed, it feels good too. My only shortcoming is when I wear shooting gloves, this crowds me a little bit.
The trigger guard is a little bit small for even people that have smaller hands like we do.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got fully gloved hands, you're actually going to have a little bit of trouble getting it in there, and I'm sure people with even bigger fingers know exactly what we're talking about. So, me personally, I would give the ergonomics to my Glock, because when I'm shooting both of these side by side, you know, my shots are more accurate, you know, round for round with the Glock.
So yeah, so you know, whatever floats your boat, I guess different people are going to feel differently about it. The Glock definitely is lighter. It's a lighter gun, a lot lighter than the CZ. CZ's all metal construction. I mean, and this feels like you club somebody with this and it's going to hurt them.
Yeah, yeah. If you're looking to pistol whip somebody, you would want to do it with a CZ.
CZ, not with the Glock. Because the Glock, they might laugh at you.
So everybody probably already knows this, but for those that don't, the difference between these two guns and why the Glock is so much lighter weight than the CZ75 SPO1 is because this gun only has an aluminum slide. The frame is actually made out of a very lightweight but very durable polymer.
So if you're in law enforcement or military,
or if you're looking to conceal carry,
you probably want a lighter gun. You might go for a Glock
of some sort, maybe not necessarily a 34, but either way. So that's pretty cool. And I really like that feature a lot about this Glock. I kind of figured it would be something that I wouldn't really care too much about. I like it a lot. So how about sight picture?
Okay, sight picture.
Is it even a competition?
Yeah, no, Glock sucks. The
It does.
sights that the Glock comes with standard, I'm sorry Glock, your gun is wonderful, but those sights suck. You could have put something better on it, in my humble opinion.
I agree wholeheartedly. I don't think I could have put it any better than you did. They're just these cheap plastic things that they threw on there. I don't care for them at all. Mine even came loose and started to move over, and we had to change it up to get me shooting accurately again, and we had to adjust the sights.
Right.
With the CZ.
Yeah, the CZ, tritium, night sights.
And they come standard. Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Hands down, nice sights, and I like I just like the sight picture.
Yeah, it's a lot better.
So much better than the Glock.
Yeah, the cool thing about the sights on these CZ models is that there's no space in between the center dot and the left and right dots, because they're all put together. So you get a nice tight sight picture. With the Glock, when you're looking through and you've got the two white edges on either side, there's kind of a space in between for the dot to have a little bit of play, and that's not going to help you with your accuracy. That's going to be a bit of a detriment. So I don't care for that. I don't really care for these sights at all. In fact, I bought some aftermarket Trigicon sights that I'm going to be putting on here as soon as we get the tools for it.
Right.
So yeah, it's not even a competition as far as sights are concerned. It goes hands down to the CZ. How about operability? You know, the controls and everything about how the controls operate, ease of function, all of that.
I think they're both solid. The CZ might be just a little tougher.
Yeah.
Everything's tougher on this gun.
Here, so with the Glock, it's really easy to just rock that slide back and forth like that. CZ, not so much. It's broken in a lot, but when we very first got it, man, this thing was tough to pull back. But it's really broken in a lot. It's easier to manipulate now, but it's still not as easy as the Glock. And in fact, every control on the Glock, I would say, fits my hands better because they're all just right there where I need them to be. This gun feels like it's built for a person with bigger hands, and I can't hold that against it, you know. The person that designed it probably designed it with that in mind. So that's completely okay, and I'm fine with that, and I can learn to use the gun in a way that suits me. That's not a problem. It does lead me, though, to prefer the Glock for my own personal tastes. So let's take a look at the controls here. The biggest difference, I would say, between the operability of the CZ75 SPO1 compared to the Glock is that this is a single action, double action, hammer fired gun, and it has a safety, external safety on the sides.
Which we both don't care for.
Yeah, we don't care for guns that have external safeties, honestly. The cool thing about the Glock is there is no safety besides this little lever on the trigger. You know, you gotta pull that in to actuate the trigger, and that's all you got. And it's a striker fired gun too. There's no hammer to get in the way or anything like that. My preference for ease of use due to controls, definitely go into the Glock.
Now, we are aware that there is an SP01 tactical that comes with a decocker, which if it was legal in California, we would have.
Absolutely.
Since it's not legal and this is the only one on the roster, we got this, and we're lucky to find it.
I should mention
SP01.
that, yeah, SP01. I should mention that they both do come with a standard 1913 Picatinny rail on the bottom, so you can mount, you know, a under frame mounted red dot sight frame or laser or a flashlight, whatever you want to put on it. Either gun will accept them. You can put it on there. How about disassembling? What do you think?
Well, the Glock wins this one,
Absolutely.
hands down.
Yep.
If you have a half an hour to spare, you can disassemble this.
I mean, we do make
pretty
kind of a
easily.
big deal out of
Yeah.
it, you know, we're being hyperbolic, obviously. But as far as the amount of time it takes to disassemble each gun, it's so much quicker to disassemble the Glock. In my opinion, it's not even a competition.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to say.
So yeah, oh yeah, definitely. But you know, some people say, well, no problem with the Glock. Okay, no problem for you.
Yeah, exactly. You mean
Right.
the CZ?
I mean the CZ, yeah, not the Glock.
Yeah, okay. So last but not least, perceived recoil, I think, is the last thing we've got to talk about. We kind of touched on every other little feature
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
So they're both 9s. They both hardly recoil.
Yeah, they have, you know, a little recoil, but
Each one is unique. I
slide,
find.
this slide, the way this slide is designed, it fits in instead of outside. I don't know how you say that. How would you say that?
Yeah, so basically the way the slide is machined, it is machined to fit with inside of the frame,
Frame, yeah.
not on the outside, like the Glock.
So I think that might mitigate some of the recoil, just the design.
Well, what
and
that's-
it's very low profile.
Yeah,
You can see that.
you've got a low bore axis basically due to the internal manufacturing of the slide there. You got to actuate the safety there. And so basically what you're getting there is there's not a lot of height coming from that weight, so it's
Yeah.
not going to have as much of a fulcrum
Flip.
effect. You know, it's not going to flip back as much as a gun that's got a, you know, taller
Yeah,
slide.
just look at the difference.
Not that much of a difference looking at it.
Yeah, there is. The difference in the slide, the size of the slide.
Yeah. So we both shot both guns, but why don't you talk
Yeah.
about perceived recoil first? You've shot them both. What do you think? Do you have a preference? And what do you think of both of them?
No, I think the Glock feels like it has less recoil for whatever reason.
I agree with that notion.
Design. Even though the CZ is heavy, and you would think that because of the frame being as heavy as it is, that it would mitigate some of the recoil.
Not to mention that it has a lower bore axis too.
Yeah.
But
But it's not a big deal.
no, not at all.
Not at all,
I mean, they're both obviously very, very shootable guns. But in both of our opinions, we prefer the recoil impulse of the Glock. I personally feel like it's just much easier to control it and get the sights back on target. But that could be because of my hands or some way that I'm operating it that some other person isn't. You know, it's all personal preference. But my personal preference goes towards the Glock.
And yeah. Okay. What about the mags?
Yeah, so
Little thing.
my preference goes towards the CZ for that, just because the mags are made out of metal.
Metal.
They slide out of the gun a little bit easier. I find that because the Glock has a polymer frame and also polymer magazines, there are occasions where it'll cause a little bit of friction.
Little bind.
Yeah, and I think that's more of a break-in thing than anything else, because now that I've fired several thousand rounds through this gun, I'm not having as much of an issue with the mags, you know, dropping free. But at first, excuse me, at first, that was an issue. There were times when it would not drop free entirely just because you were getting that plastic on plastic friction. With the CZ, you got this nice polished metal. Look at this, look at this. It goes into the gun so easily, it practically jumps out at you, which is great. Glock, you get the same sort of deal, but not as much. It's tough to tell on video, but if you're there in person, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. At the end of the day, my preference would go towards, as far as the mag release goes, towards the CZ. So, price range.
They're both almost the same price, right?
How much did you pay for each one? You remember much?
No, I don't. $550, I think.
They're right around $500 to $600.
Yeah.
That's about what you're going to look to pay for each of these. If you're seeing it lower, then you got a deal. You should probably jump on it.
Yeah.
And if you're seeing it higher, don't get ripped off. You know, simple as that.
So your decision.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to spend $550 on a gun, and I'm sure you have other variables too, but we're just comparing these two. What would you take?
I might add one thing here that might make your decision a tad bit easier. If you're looking for something that you can customize the hell out of, if you want something that'll complement the customizability of your AR-15,
Glock bias.
you want a Glock. You want a Glock because it has the widest range of aftermarket parts available, at least to my knowledge.
Yeah.
But if you want a very finely crafted, almost a piece of art, I mean, this thing is so finely machined, everything about it just feels fancy.
It'll stay in your family for generations.
Yeah.
Whereas the polymer, you know it's going to crack eventually.
At some point in time.
At some point.
But, you know,
hopefully not too soon.
Yeah. You know, if you just want a go-to-war handgun, no thrills, no frills, no nothing special, I would say go with the Glock because it'll serve you right and it'll do exactly what you want it to do for the price range that you want it at.
And it can be as simple or as complex as you want. As he said, you can add many, many goodies on here.
However, if you're looking for maybe more of a collector's piece, something that's a little bit harder to find, as we can both attribute and attest to, we had a hard time finding this CZ. You know, maybe you want to go with the CZ SP01. I mean, there's nothing else really like it. It's a pretty special 9mm. You know, my preference may be towards the Glock, but that doesn't mean that I don't have a hell of a lot of fun shooting this gun every time that we bring it out to the range. Yeah. So I think that's going to sum up our video right there, folks. I'm going to leave the decision down to you guys because ultimately it's all up to you.
Yeah. The slide here, the cutout.
Yeah, so that is a bit of a negative, but that's only on the 34, not all Glocks.
You get dirt in there
and so if you're you know, shooting prone or supine or whatever, some sort of odd position where the gun is close to the ground, you know, you do have that cutout, but like I said before, that's only on Glock 34s. You're not going to see that on any other model. So I don't even know if it's really worth bringing it up as an issue, because it's only on one model. So I think that's going to surmise our video here, and the decision is ultimately up to you guys, because you are the one buying the gun. So everybody, thank you all so very much once again for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram to keep up with the channel, and we will see you all in the next video.
Or at the range.
This has been Fun with the Gun, signing out.